Good morning, Vancouver. Good morning to the Lower Mainland. 50 Mission Cap, one of the greatest hockey songs ever written. We got basketball, though, on the mind tonight. Some great basketball fans out in that part of the country. Welcome back to BT. My name is Sid Sixero. 146 times. That's how many times in the history of the NBA a team has taken a 3-0 series lead in a best-of-7 series. No one in those 146 times have come back to win the series. That's what the Raptors are trying to do, and the journey continues tonight. They won Game 4. They won Game 5 earlier this week. Tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, the Raptors will attempt to force a 7th game on what we think will be Saturday night. It should be Saturday night. I'm ready for this tonight. Michael Grange of Sportsnet and Sportsnet.ca, one of the best in the business. He has seen every second of this from a very intimate angle. He's been kind enough to join us this morning. Mike, appreciate you, man. I know we were just talking in the break, I can't remember feeling this way about a playoff series involving a Canadian team in any sport in a long time. I mean, the Raptors are down here, but I feel like they got the hammer. What's the feeling in those Zoom calls with coaches and players? Like, what are you hearing here?
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I think there's been a real flip in momentum, Sid. And what's gone on is the Raptors have outplayed the Sixers for 3 games in a row. They didn't win Game 3, but they should have. They regret it because otherwise they'd be up 3-2 right now. But I think it's just a growing belief, and it kind of mirrors where this team has been all season. starting slowly, building, and then they kind of catch some momentum. It's a young team. I think they've learned what it takes to win playoff games. And the result is, a sense of belief. And I think that's maybe the most important thing you can have in a situation like this.
The home crowd in Game 4, Saturday afternoon, Michael, in Toronto, look, I mean, they came out, they showed up, but they obviously were waiting for something bad to happen. It was one of those kind of atypical Sunday afternoon crowds down through the years at Scotiabank where they were there, but they weren't making a ton of noise because they were expecting the worst to take place. I anticipate tonight's crowd is going to be very different. What are you expecting?
Energy is going to be palpable. And I think you're right. I mean, Game 4 was, people had very low expectations. If anything, now the expectations have maybe flipped a little bit to the other side. And, what's really neat here, Sid, is it's all gravy, right? Like, I mean, I think people looked at this team going into this series and thought, yeah, I mean, I had them picked to win in 6. So they're not going to do that. But, you were playing Joel Embiid, who's a legitimate superstar. The Sixers were the favored team. And so I think if this series had ended up a 6-game loss or a 7-game loss, whatever it might be, people would accept that. The Raptors are young. This has been a great experience. They're growing. They can build on it. But now you're in a situation where you have a chance to do something historic. And if you don't do it, there's no downside, right? All you've done is created an experience for yourself. And so you can, as a sports fan, and as sure you can relate through all your soccer torments, you can go into the moment and just enjoy it, because the only thing that can happen is something good. If you end up, not being able to pull this off in Game 6, you lose at home, you lose the series in 6 games, you're going to wake up tomorrow and feel good about this team because they've grown. But should they pull it off and win, and then they go into Philly in Game 7 with a chance to do something that no one's ever done in the NBA, no team, it just it's more found money. And that's a great place to be as a team. It's a great place to be as a fan.
Well, let's go down that road here, because now I want to look at this from Philadelphia's perspective. You have a superstar in Joel Embiid, and he was wearing the splint or the brace, whatever you want to call it, on his right thumb in some of the video that we were showing you. One of the better players in the league, but he has not been the same since injuring that thumb. It will require surgery in the offseason. You have a Philadelphia team that cannot handle the length of the Raptors, and especially since Fred VanVleet got hurt and went down, the Raptors have gone very big. And you are a Philadelphia team tonight that we all know is absolutely terrified of going back to Philadelphia, having to play that 7th game, having blown a 3-0 lead. What will they look like tonight, Mike?
I think they're going to be tight. And I give Embiid a little bit of a pass. I mean, he's been the focus of the Raptors game plan, and it isn't like he's played poorly. He's kind of played the way you need to play when you're being double and triple teamed. And, I think he's been let down a little bit by his surrounding cast. And in particular, he's been let down by James Harden. And James Harden is, to me, the real focal point of this series. He's the real story of this series because, if you're going to go down the good and evil road, James Harden's the villain, right? Like for people who aren't that familiar with the NBA, or even if you are, this is a guy who has a long record of folding, and it's unkind to say it, but it's true, folding in essential moments for his team. And he did that over and over again in Houston, and then he forced his way out of Houston. And keep in mind, when he was in Houston, that everything that organization did was to his benefit, to put him in a better chance to succeed, and he continued to let them down. He forces his way out of Houston, gets to Brooklyn, another handpicked situation. They were supposed to win, didn't like it there, forced his way out of Brooklyn to Philly, to an environment where this is it. This is his cushy bed. This is where he's going to win a title and lead a team to a title. And guess what? He's come up short. He's well below his season averages. He's well below his career averages. He was basically a no-show in Game 5. People forget in Game 4, he nearly fouled himself out in the fourth quarter. In fact, did foul himself out in the fourth quarter. People ignored it because the Sixers came back and win.
Sure.
Sorry, in Game 3. So, we'll see. It would be against his track record if he came out big and led that team to a win tonight.
Only 11 shots the other night.
More likely, he comes out and looks tentative, looks a little scared, and if you're Joel Embiid and the rest of the 76ers, that can't be a good thing to think about.
No, it could be a great thing for Raptor fans. Game 6, 7 Eastern tonight, Toronto. Mike, enjoy the game. Appreciate you. Thank you.